Welcome to the Refine and Shine, the podcast dedicated to mastering the art of continuous improvement and optimizing every aspect of your life. I'm Angelina Rivera, your host, and together we'll uncover the secrets to refining our lives, our habits, and our processes to unlock our inner brilliance. Join us on Refine and Shine, where we'll delve deep into achieving more in life without the burnout and without all the stress. This podcast is your platform for a more fulfilling life through continuous improvement and personal growth. In each episode, I and a diverse array of guests discuss practical strategies for up-leveling every aspect of your life. From developing good habits and organizing your space to refining your mindset and personal goals, we're going to explore it all. Our guests share personal stories about the systems they've developed or systems they've used and the tweaks they've made in their lives when refinement was needed, allowing them to truly shine. Listen to Refine and Shine to learn how you can implement continuous improvement techniques in your daily routine, develop and maintain healthy habits that lead to success and satisfaction, organize your life to reduce the stress and increase your productivity, foster a growth mindset that propels you to new heights. My mission is to inspire you to take bold action, make positive changes, and become the best version of yourself. Whether you're aiming to elevate your career, nurture meaningful relationships, or enhance your overall well-being, Refine and Shine is your guiding light. With over 25 years of experience in continuous improvement, I help businesses streamline their processes, establish efficient work areas, and implement standard work protocols. I have trained over 600 individuals and teams in process improvement, optimizing workflows, and enhancing overall operational efficiency. Tune in every week as we embark on an enlightening journey, exploring paths to refinement and illuminating the way to shine in every area of our lives. Subscribe now and join us on this journey to polish your life and let your best self shine through. Thank you for joining us on Refine and Shine. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Refine and Shine podcast. I'm super excited about my guest. My guest I got to see at an event that I shouldn't even been at. I was just kind of walking around waiting for my flight, and I happened to go I was in Reno, and I went into this one. It was like Startup Reno or something like that event, and I got to hear a panel of founders. And so today I got to hear a panel of founders. And when I heard my guest speak, our guest today, I was just so drawn into all the things that she was talking about. And I was like, I need her on my podcast. But I talked to her right away after it ended, and I told her I would love to have her on my podcast, but I was so scared to actually give the invitation. Followed her for a little bit, and then I just thought, what are you waiting for? Like, tomorrow's never promised, just make the invitation. So I'm super excited today that we were able to make this work. Today my guest is Aurelia Edwards. She is an entrepreneur. She is a tech innovator, and she's a founder of Nailstry, the first mobile app marketplace for custom press-on nails. With a background in healthcare, a master's in cosmetic science, and experience as a licensed massage therapist, she has seamlessly blended wellness, beauty, and technology to revolutionize how we approach nail fashion. Nailstry was born out of a real-life moment, 2 missing press-on nails at a wedding, and evolved into a full-blown beauty tech solution addressing accessibility and proper nail sizing. What began as a Tips nail store, a pop-up shop in New York City's iconic West Village, quickly gained traction. The customers there were manually sized and connected with nail designers offering custom nail art. The demand led to the creation of a virtual sizing tool and app-based marketplace, making custom nails more accessible than ever. She has been featured in major outlets for her work, empowering creators and building community through beauty. Get ready to be inspired by her journey, her insights, and her bold vision for the future of tech-driven beauty. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Angelina, for having me. And yeah, it was such a serendipitous moment that you stopped in when we were speaking during Reno Startup Week. So thank you for having me.
I just think it was just like, I just was walking and I was like, I just want to see. And I had seen all these signs like Reno Startup and this and that. And I'm like, let me see. And I went in there kind of shy. And then I was like, oh, looking at all the the freebies and all the stuff. And then I was like, they're like, oh, the panel's going to come. And so I had to register, and then I went and listened. And it was just truly amazing because, you know, I'm a founder of a business, but what you did is technology, and mine's more consulting and coaching. But the technology, like to wrap to, and I don't mean to be stereotypical, but to have women doing technology a lot of times is unheard of. And so, especially, you not only have this technology, but it's in the beauty industry. And I just want you to like walk us through your journey.
So I didn't always want to be number one in the beauty industry or building out technology. Actually, that was not my plan. If we go back, I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York, raised in South Florida, and I went to undergrad at Florida International University. And I thought I knew exactly what I wanted to do, which was become a physician. So I was pre-med in college. I got a bachelor's degree in biology, and I also got one in chemistry. And interestingly enough, during the application process for medical school, I decided I did not want to go to medical school. And my parents were very unhappy. But one thing I did do in undergrad was I went to massage school because I needed a part-time job. I can date myself. I was working at Circuit City, which was like a competitor to Best Buy before they closed down. And I think it was minimum wage was maybe around $5. So I didn't make a lot of money. So going into massage was a great part-time job during college. So when I decided not to go to medical school, I decided to kind of lean into my chemistry degree. And that's when I decided to kind of pivot into beauty. So I have my master's in cosmetic chemistry. And then I thought, I did it. I know exactly what I want to do until they locked me in the lab and threw away the key, or at least that's how it felt. I worked as a chemist for 4 years. And then I'm like, yeah, this isn't me either. But I really loved massage therapy, and that had always been my passion. I think part of the reason is people are always happy to see their massage therapist because like you relieve their stress and make them feel good. So I was able to build out that business from, client one to client 400 plus. I did private in-home massages and had a really successful service business over the past 20 plus years. But interestingly enough, as a massage therapist, we keep our nails short. And that's something for hygiene reasons, for
Mhm.
safety, just for the feel of the service. And when my friends would ask me to hang out, or when I had events to go to, I could get my hair done, my makeup done, my lashes done, everything. But my nails, it's just something I couldn't really figure out the right routine because I always had to work the next day. So press-on nails were my go-to. They were fast. I could slip them on after a client. I could take them off before a client. And I would accumulate all these leftover box sets. Because currently, or even traditionally and currently, when you go to the store like a Target or a CVS or Walgreens, when you buy press-on nails, they give you more than you need. And to not be wasteful, I'd save them all in my closet, hoping one day I can wear them again or share them with someone, which usually never happened. But this particular day, I'm like, I'm going to use my leftovers because I had like 20 boxes or more in the closet. My cousin was getting married. I was living in New Jersey at the time. The wedding was in Northern Virginia. So I had a 4-hour drive in front of me, and I figured, okay, I planned out my day, had everything packed. I was driving down. And when I started doing my nails, I realized, uh-oh, I don't have enough that fit. And I just needed two for my ring fingers. And see me now trying to stop at Target to buy a box of 30 nails when I only needed two, which to me was super inefficient. I was not happy about it. But then I was even more unhappy when I got stuck in traffic on the New Jersey Turnpike and I missed her welcome dinner. So knowing that like I wasn't going to make it in time, she wasn't thrilled because I think she wanted to introduce me to someone, but that's another story for another podcast. Um, but I was just wondering, like, this was in 2018. Why couldn't I just buy the nail sizes that I needed? Number one, why couldn't I just buy two nails? Why did I have to be 30 nails or 24 nails? There were just so many unanswered questions for me. And I had a lot of time to be in my head and think about it. So when I got to Virginia, I asked my friends, because of course someone's going to tell me that's a bad idea. And no, everyone was like, wow, that's amazing. I never thought of it. You should look into it. And I'm like, well, I don't want to do it. I don't know if anyone's ever had that. Like you have an idea, but then you're like, somebody else should do it. But it just kept tapping me on the shoulder, like, you should do this. So when I got back to New Jersey, that Monday, I actually spoke to one of my massage clients and I'm like, by any chance, do you have commercial real estate laying around? Like, people just tend to, they collect commercial real estate. That's not normal. But he was like, I actually do. And that's how Tip's Nail Store was born. And the rest is history. Like I did my first market test. I didn't realize that's what I was doing, but we had a pop-up. People came in, we measured manually. They were allowed to shop one nail at a time. There was a lot of great feedback. And then people started asking, how can we order online? And that's when it was like the light bulb went off. Like, we need to create something that would allow access virtually, and sizing virtually. And that's where the Nailstry marketplace was born. It was basically like a virtual version of our Tips nail store. And we used it as basically our lab to get the technology to the point that we have it now, where it's accurate. The UI and the flow through the measurement process is seamless. And we're able to also highlight and elevate other nail creatives, because it's really a platform for them to make what they do more efficient and make that user experience more seamless.
We'll be back after a quick break.
Feeling overwhelmed by endless to-do lists and constant distractions? You're not alone. Many professionals and entrepreneurs struggle with never-ending tasks that spill into personal time, difficulty prioritizing what's truly important, a lack of clear structure in their daily routines. Well, let me introduce you to your Unlock Your Time Potential program, an 8-week coaching program designed to help you reclaim your time and boost productivity. What you will gain is proven strategies to manage your day effectively, techniques to eliminate distractions and stay focused, tools to align your daily actions with your long-term goals. Ready to take control of your time? Join the waitlist today and be the first to know when enrollment opens. Don't miss the opportunity to transform your productivity and achieve your goals. Check out the link in the summary notes. I think that's so amazing. I mean, that's like, what a concept. I mean, like, and that's the thing, like, sometimes we don't always know why things happen, right? And I understand the saving, like, the savings of things, because we don't want to waste, like, like when we work and we buy things, we're like, oh, I could use it again, I could use it again. And so I totally understand that, especially when we're going through college, and like, we're like, every penny counts, right?
Right.
But then, like, we're like, oh, it's such a hassle. I'm an efficiency time management person, so I understand you had everything planned out, and when you get delayed because of traffic and all those things that we can't control, we get so frustrated. But you use a frustration into, like, your future, like, to what your business is today. And I think that that's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I think it's pretty amazing too. We currently tap in with our nail designers, and they're still super excited and thrilled about it. So yeah, we're on the right track.
And so, I mean, it wasn't easy though, I'm pretty sure, or was it easy? I mean, how did you just come up with, like, from the time that the wedding happened to the first pop-up, what was that time frame like?
That was 6 weeks, so it wasn't a lot of
Oh,
time.
wow.
It was really fast, and I had a vacation planned in those 6 weeks that I went on vacation, and I remembered I was on the island of Barbados, and I remembered, like, scheduling, like, Skype calls and WhatsApp calls with designers that I found on Etsy, praying that I can find a designer who, number one, didn't think I was trying to scam them when I was like, "Hey, can I buy, like, bulk discount for your press-on nails?" 'Cause press-on nails weren't really a big thing back then. So, or asking, not necessarily for free, but like, would you do them on consignment? I have this wild idea. And a lot of designers were like, well, half the designers didn't respond. And the ones I did speak to were like, okay, I get it, but we can't do that turnaround. Like, we're just one person. We can't make the amount of nails that you need for the time that you need it. So I just remembered that being a challenge was, number one, speaking to the designers, getting them to respond to me, know that I'm like serious and I want to pay, telling them about my idea, which is scary when you're announcing your idea to people, like, are they going to get it? And then finding those designers who had the turnaround time. So I think that was number one. The second part was, after you find all these designers and they give you their prices, you're like, oh, wait, I have to pay for this. Where is the money coming from? So budgeting, that first pop-up store was self-funded. So I needed to be strategic. I did have some designers who were gracious enough to work on consignment, which is they sent me their product. I inventoried everything, and then I just paid them for what we sold and then shipped back the remaining sets. So that was wonderful. Other designers gave me like a bulk discount. So that worked out. I had to pay rent. So all of that came out of my personal savings. And then I think the last thing was, I opened this store in New York City. Really cool location. If anyone is a Sex and the City fan, we were blocks away from the Sex and the City house, around the corner from Magnolia's, which is a really famous pastry shop that's known for their banana pudding. So I gained some pounds being that close, but but it was really fun. But the other challenge was making sure we can get all of the required documents, licensing, tax IDs, all of that set up before the store opened. So we launched during New York Fashion Week because I thought it was a great tag along or side event. And we had a lot of fun. I mean, as much as it was scary, it was a total shift in what I was currently doing because I was doing a service business for my clients. I guess that was another scary thing, is telling my clients, hey, I'm not going to work for 3 weeks, because they depended on seeing me weekly. And I just felt like such a devotion to being there for them. But I'm like, I really want to do this. And I was intentional about making sure that I enjoyed the experience and had fun with it. And so that was a really fun, like, it was 3 weeks initially, and we extended it to 7 weeks because we had such a big demand from being open.
I think that that's amazing. And I also love that you shared that your first thing, you had to be putting the money first. You had to put it up front. And that's one of the things that people are so scared. Like they have a thought or a thing or something they want to create, and they're like, oh, how am I going to fund this? But you took your savings because you believed in yourself so much. You believed that this would be successful. And you had a lot of faith. And I think that that's important. And then you were very strategic on how you planned it out. I mean, I wouldn't even thought about like the tax ID and all the other things. And to strategically place it during, New York's Fashion Week, and how close of a proximity to like how, those iconic places, I think is also amazing.
Yeah.
And so how did you pick New York? Were you from New York? Because you were in New Jersey. So how did you pick New York?
So I was in New Jersey, but northern Jersey, so a 25-minute drive into the city. But just for the foot traffic, well, two things. I had, I asked for, do you have any commercial real estate laying around? So I didn't have a lot to choose from. So it just happened to be prime real estate. So I got lucky there. So a lot of it was just the availability of the resources that I had access to. But the traffic was wonderful. Like I said, it was in this iconic West Village street. It was on Bleecker Street. So there's a lot of foot traffic, a lot of storefronts. And we were able to do some really fun activations. We had a couple celebrity shopping events with local influencers and people who've been on different reality TV shows. So that got a little bit of virality. So it was just a lot of fun. It was really fun being able to be in the city and like just do the city life, because being in Jersey, it's a little bit more what's the word? I don't want to say residential. It's a little bit more suburban.
Suburban.
Right. Versus being in the city. So I got to have a little fun just being in the city and parking and like networking with everyone.
I really love that. And I love the first part was you had to just ask people. And even when you were at the wedding, you just started asking people, like, what do you think about this? What do you think? And that's one of the things, like we have these thoughts and these things that we want to work on, these dreams, or, whatever God places on our heart. And sometimes we just keep it in. But you didn't want to just keep it in. You right away started asking people what their feelers were, what their opinions were. And then you asked this, the person you're doing a massage on, like, hey, do you have any, commercial real estate? And then you had to start asking the designers and all these things. And that's the thing, you had the courage to ask. And have you always been one of those people who've had the courage to, ask people things like that?
Never, no. No, but you know what? I am a God-fearing person. So prayer has played a very important part in every decision that I've made in life, every important decision that I've made in life. So feeling the confidence to say, okay, this is what my journey is for right now. This is what my goal is. This is my purpose at the moment. So I'm very tuned into that. I'm also very tuned into just conversations that I have and people that I meet, and being able to listen. And being able to respond. But listening is really important because I feel like it points you in the direction that you need to be. Every conversation, every interaction, people that you meet, you'll know, okay, am I doing the right thing? Because for me, just like random, I mean, I guess they're not so random, but they feel random, right? So like one example is like, one of my clients was introducing me to like a new massage therapist that like we could possibly share clients. Like when I'm not available, I can refer out, etc. So I meet her and I'm talking to her. This is, again, she's in New York. She's from Miami. And I'm like, oh my goodness, we have a Florida connection. That's really cool. And then she tells me she used to run nail salons and she closed them down and now she's focusing on massage. And I'm like, no way. I've been a massage therapist and now I'm going into the nail industry. So like, I'm like, that's so serendipitous, because that was literally like 2 weeks before I was opening the store, I've never met anyone who was like from Florida, like very similar threads there. And I'm like, you know what, this is what I'm supposed to be doing, because this person wouldn't have been in my life to tell me. It was like confirmation that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. And I feel like a lot of us have these, but like some people just aren't very sensitive to those experiences. So like listening, keeping your eyes open, knowing the signs, because there's always going to be some type of confirmation that you're doing what your purpose is. So that's one thing, like, to just work on, right? When you have that time with yourself, just ask for that clarity so that you know that you're walking in the right direction when those signs are in front of you.
I love what you shared. And that's also, going to the relationships is just, by being able to listen to people, you build a relationship with them, because you're not just listening to respond, you're listening to see a connection.
Correct.
And that's also important. And then just, I love the part where you said that time with yourself and getting that clarity. There were some things that I had been going through, and one of my friends had said, well, why don't you do a listening prayer? And I'm like, what is a listening prayer? And it's like, you sit there, you ask the question, and you sit there and listen until you get the, and I was like, oh, you mean I'm not going to get it right? Like, you have to sit there for a while. But it gave me so much clarity. And I was like, oh, so I got to not be like quick and be like, God, can you answer me now? Because it's not his timing, or it's not our timing, it's his timing. And I was like, oh, okay. And using that has helped me with so much clarity. And
Mhm.
to be honest, like, there's times when I'm just sitting there and I'm thinking about something, and like my family's all around, and I'll just put on my noise canceling headphones, not listening to anything, just so I can listen to myself and get that clarity. They're
We
gonna
are
probably hear this.
really, we're very special human beings. Like we're very special. And I don't think everyone's tapped into how like magical and how much we have inside of us. One example I can tell you is that, totally random. I had to do a commercial. I had a relationship with Facebook through my journeys of like funding and finding partnerships. So I applied for this Facebook thing, and I was accepted, and I had to do a commercial. And the day that we were supposed to shoot the commercial, my photographer got really sick. So I'm sitting there, like, I promised the Facebook admin person or the marketing person I'll have this content for them. And I'm kind of freaking out. So I'm just like sitting in front of my computer, just staring at it for like 30 minutes. And then finally I'm like, oh wait, I can like string photos together, and I can do like, this is before Reels was a thing. It was like right when Reels were coming out. And I was able to find like software, and I put pictures together, and I like timed it and put music to it, again before Reels. Now it seems common day, but it wasn't. And I was like, wow, I was literally having a breakdown, and I just needed that quiet. I needed that moment. And so many things I've realized, like, okay, don't panic when you're not stressed out, and when you're just like in a place of like balance, the answers will be there. So I think just, we have a lot of noise around us, but if you can quiet those noises, you'll get the answer you need. That's how we were created to perform. So you'll get your answers.
Yes, I thank you for sharing that, because some of this is what my listeners need to hear, is that you can't always, just to be quiet and still is really important. In fact, that time that, it's funny that you say that, because, or it's not funny, it's God, because when you say that, when I had asked that and I was in that time, the verse that came to me was, be still and know that I am God,
Hmm.
and that I'm going to take care of you. And I'm like, and so I'm like, okay, so that's serendipitous, you would say. I think that it's also, you also talked about the funding and finding the partnerships and all of those types of things, and that's what I have heard you also talk about during the founders thing is, it wasn't just, eventually you had to go out and seek money. And tell us a little bit about the things that you did, because you did a lot of amazing things to get money, and I think that were legal ways to get money.
They were all legal. Okay, so I'll start off with before leaving my day job, because I would say if you're thinking of an idea and you have a day job, that's a good way to fund your business. So only quit when you really believe it's time to quit, and that's something that a personal decision you need to make. But before I left my career, I diversified all of my investments, and this is something I was doing, in my 30s and my 20s. So think about your retirement strategies. If you're working for a corporation, think about your 401k, which is great, but think about other platforms that you can borrow from, because sometimes you can't really borrow from your 401k before retirement without being penalized, and then you pay lots of taxes. So I had various life insurance policies. I had different types of investment vehicles that allowed me to become my own bank. So I was able to borrow against that retirement money that I can put back in at a later time. So those were some things that I did. I also had a savings account. Okay, so that's my personal bootstrapping. Put that aside. There's a lot of free money out there for you. You just have to look and be diligent. Follow a lot of different platforms, whether it's LinkedIn, X, Instagram. A lot of companies, they do post these different opportunities for pitch competitions and grants. And these are not your government grants. So it's not something where you're doing this like extensive application and then you're going to have to like account for every penny. Those grants are usually for federal contracts or nonprofits. These are grants from private institutions. They may ask you 3 or 5 questions. They want to know about you, your why, how are you, providing value and an impact to your community. I mean, every organization has a different reason, but I've raised just on that route, just over $200,000. So that's non-dilutive. I gave up no equity in my company. It's free money. Some may have contacted me once or twice to ask how I'm doing, but they trusted that I knew what was best for my company and how to invest that money. So that was a substantial purse of money that I was able to invest in the company. And then I got my first equity investment in 2023. And that's what moved me to Reno from an accelerator called Generator. And they partnered with the state of Nevada in order to invest in a select group of companies. And so I received $100,000 from that investment. And that was a great signal to the industry that like someone like really they're betting on me and they want to see me win. So as much as I had grant funding and pitch funding from all these amazing corporate sponsors like Facebook, from Wells Fargo, from JP Morgan Chase, the list goes on and on. It's really great when you have an investor also invest in you because it signals to the industry that this is a company you need to keep your eyes on.
I think that's amazing. I think that, and that's one of the things, I mean, when you're talking about it, and it wasn't always easy, like you had to, but you have to do the work. You have to do the research. It's not going to just, money's not going to just fall from the sky, and you have to do the work. And if you really believe in your technology, your product, or whatever that you want to, start your business on, you really need to make sure that you have it, clear of what your mission is, what your, all of these things. So that way, when you're able to sell yourself and, and I think that that's amazing. And so with all of these things that you're going from, I mean, then you left your job, and just tell us how that journey has been. I mean, from where you were from the day, I mean, how many years has it been since the day you started to where you're at now?
So it's been about 7 years. It'll be 7 years in July since I had that idea. One thing I didn't talk about is that, like, you've heard my history. I'm non-technical, so building that team was a challenge. But I was able to ask for help. Do you know anyone? This is what we're trying to build. What makes sense? Went through different interview processes. I had mentors and advisors, which is also really helpful. You want to learn from other people's mistakes. That's the first thing. But also having them sit in on meetings and sit on our interviews so I can feel like I'm making really educated decisions in the areas where I found that I had gaps or were not my strengths. And I found a great team to kind of help me build. But the journey's it's been fun. We started off with Nailstry, a platform similar to Etsy that connects customers to independent nail creatives. The technology did not work, and that's okay. We wanted to show what we were trying to build, and we were building in the open and building publicly. Got the attention of Apple and some other major players, but then it also got the attention of some really big nail care brands that approached us for our technology. So in 2022, we pivoted a little bit. We still have the Nailstry platform, but we built out a parent company that Nailstry sits under, and that's called Standard Measure Technologies. We eventually got the technology part right. And when we did, we filed a patent for that, but we realized we had something really special with micro measurements. Right now, we're measuring fingernails and toenails for the nail care industry specifically, and selling that technology only as an API to brands who want to offer customization on their platforms. But we know we can do much more with the technology once we branch out of beauty into areas such as jewelry sizing. So imagine shopping for rings and bracelets. I think those are the two SKUs that tend to give people a lot of trouble when it comes to sizing. Using our measurement technology to correctly size for rings and bracelets through a photograph. We're thinking through prosthetic fitting for like the face and hands. We're thinking through immersive web retail with all of the immersive experiences. I think one that comes to mind is anyone who plays with Roblox. There's a lot of commerce happening within these experiences, and being able to provide personalization and customization as you dress your avatar and you want something similar. We want to integrate our technology there as well. So we see a really amazing path born from Nailstry and this nail sizing issue in the press-on nail space, but seeing how it can flow and affect and grow other industries.
I think that's amazing. And I can just not, I mean, the thing is, like you said, you weren't tech savvy, right? I mean,
Correct.
you went to school to do, you were a chemistry major, and then you got the massage therapy, and then went to, like, all these other things. And then, but not of all of them are considered necessarily technical. Like, you're not taking coding classes and all these other things. And that just goes to show that you can, change, or, even if you can have an ideal, and even if you don't know the technology, you can find the people, you can ask the questions, which you said, just asking and asking, and having those relationships with people. I mean, having that you can connect those partnerships with, and then getting to you where you are today. And when it just gives me chills when you talked about all of the things that, from two fingernails missing on a going to a wedding, to what it is today. I mean, the the prosthetics and all the medical things and things like that, I think is, just it's a game changer, and I think it's amazing.
Thank you.
It's awesome. And so, I love this, and I love all the things. And I know that was there ever a time when you doubted yourself?
Oh, always. I mean, self-doubt is normal. It's like, am I the one to be doing this? There's always challenges, especially too with all of the noise and visibility with social media and what people post. So, you compare yourselves to like competition or maybe another founder or entrepreneur that you start at the same time. But then I'm always really grounded in what's for me is for me. And I'm also open to, it's okay if something changes, right? So I'm constantly learning, I'm always curious, and I'm always just showing up to be the best version of me for that day. So even though I still may have those self-doubt thoughts, just say, okay, you know what, Aurelia, you're going to do your best today. And that's it. And it's not every day that I have the thoughts, but you always kind of do a gut check, like, oh, am I supposed to be doing this? Maybe I should have kept my day job. I'd have more money in the bank. But I know there's a bigger vision ahead, right? I have a really big dream that has a really big goal that can really change the life of my family and generations to come. And that's something that I'm working really hard for. So it's just, being present really helps, because I think for me, the self-doubt comes when I'm always thinking about the past or the future. I don't have self-doubt when I'm in the moment. So just trying to do that exercise of staying present has helped a lot.
There's just in that, what you just said right now just got me thinking all these great things. I mean, like, one, if you were still doing the massage therapist thing, as you were, you're not leaving you're not leaving a legacy for your family,
No.
right? And you took the leap to do something so that you can leave a legacy. And I think that that's, like, we get so, I mean, and if people want to be massage therapists all their lives, that's fine. That's fine. Nothing wrong with that. The thing is there is, God put something in your heart, and you had a drive to do it, and not to just do it, to build it and build it and build it to leave a legacy. I mean, the technology that's going to be behind, was standard measurements.
Yes.
The technology that's behind that is going to be used years and years to come.
Yes.
And that's important, because that's what God felt, you felt that you needed to do that, and that's what God put in your heart. Another thing that you said was that you have doubts sometimes, and everybody should, or because we're human, right? But you learn how to keep yourself grounded, and to be thankful for, and you said, I'm not looking at you have that doubt when you're looking at the past or in the future, but when you're in the present and intentionally in the present, that doubt can go away. And that's a useful tool to people. I know that that's part of, like, my podcast, Shine. I have a Shine principles that I follow, and one of them is, the I stands for be intentional. Like, be intentional where you're at, because we can't change the past, and we have no control over the future. What we have control over is what we can do and how we show up for today. And I think that that's important, and then that can help move that self-doubt, because there's going to be naysayers all the time. There's going to be people who judge you. There's going to be competition and all these other things. But are you doing the best you can for that particular day? And you are doing that. And I think that that's so important. So thank you for that and sharing that.
Thank you.
I think that there's so many great things that you're doing, and and another thing that you said was that if you had kept your job, you would have had more money in the bank account. But you know what? We can't take that money with us,
Yep.
right? When we go. But when our time comes, that technology that you created is going to be used, and I think that's important too. Like, just, that's another thing. I mean, there's so many great things, and for all those listeners out there who, like, maybe they have something, like, my thought a long time ago, when I was probably in my 20s, I thought, man, I always have to write the grocery list, and I just wish I could scan my refrigerator, and then not only could I scan it, but that it would tell me what I needed to get and, you know, what recipes I can do. And now there's refrigerators that do that. If I had taken that thought and applied it to something, you know, I would be making refrigerators by now, but it's okay because that wasn't, I mean, it was a thought, but it wasn't what I was passionate about.
Right.
Like doing my podcast, it was something I felt passionate about. And, you know, even doing what I am doing today, it's something that, you know, my coaching and my consulting, it was something that I just felt passionate about and never thought I would do it. But then I just took a leap like how you did. And I said, I'm just going to do it. Like, and that's great. That's what God put on my heart. But as we wrap up, I'll share your contact information and, you know, all your links to your amazing, your standard measurements technology so people can check it out. But I wanted to leave my listeners with one thing, because it's all about refine and shine. And if you're thinking about everything, like a quote you have, a favorite word, a saying, Bible verse, even a book that they can read, what is something that my listeners can take action on today as they're listening to this podcast that can help them refine and shine?
So I love to just say, just start. And you just mentioned it. Like we all have ideas. I have so many ideas and I have like lists of what I'm going to do next. I'm already thinking about what I'm going to do next. But there's so many times, I know this has happened to me where it's like, oh my goodness, I'm walking through and I see that little just seen on like as seen on TV section. You're like, I thought of that. I did that years ago. And it was not really an invention because I was doing it, but we never started, right? Just do something. You don't have to have the whole idea fleshed out. Doesn't have to be perfect. No one needs to like approve of it or say, hey, it's a good idea or it's a bad idea. Just do something. Through the process, it'll validate whether it's a good idea or a bad idea for yourself. Through the process, you might meet other people, you might be listening, and it shows the path of this is the direction I need to go just by starting. But if you never start, you'll never know and you'll keep questioning. And I think that's one of the things that I've heard a lot of people talk about. Like, I've had all these ideas, I just don't know when to start. I'm like, you could have started now, this morning. Just, you know, save the IG handle, save the TikTok handle. That's just starting, right? Get the domain name. That is just starting. You don't have to do anything big and monumental, just one little thing every day. And then when you look back a year from now, you're like, oh, wow, I've done a lot. And it's really just the consistency that keeps you in the game.
I love that. I love that. And that just like the buying the domain, like I was looking at my domain list a couple of months ago, and then when I was doing my taxes, and my husband's like, "Why do you have these domains?" I'm like, "Oh, because those are future businesses." But they're going to be future businesses. Like I'm good with that. Like I think that's so important. It's just taking those steps just to do it, just to start. And I think that that's amazing. Even like the email, you know, get the email address and all the other things because you never know. Yeah.
Low hanging fruit. You don't have to do a lot. Like you can just start there and then see how you feel.
Yes, I love that. I love that. Well, I thank you so much. You've been an amazing guest, and I thank you. And we'll just wrap up this podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Refine and Shine. We hope you find valuable insights and inspiration to fill your journey of continuous improvement. Remember, the key to success lies in refining your processes and letting your inner brilliance shine. If you've enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe to the podcast and leave a review. Your feedback is greatly appreciated and helps us reach more listeners like you who are eager to refine and shine in all areas of life. Stay connected with us on social media for updates and additional resources and behind-the-scenes content. We love hearing from our listeners, so feel free to reach out with any suggestions, questions, or success stories you'd like to share. As we wrap up, remember that the power to transform your life lies within you. Keep striving for growth, embracing change, and seeking opportunities to refine your skills. Together, let's continue to shine bright and make a positive impact in the world. Until next time, keep refining and keep shining.